Thank you for joining us for the 2-minute drills. I'm Aram joined by Fred J. Robledo, and behind the camera, Steve Ramirez.
Hello.
We're talking about a big one between two undefeated teams going down on Friday night at Citrus College. Glendora 2-0, hosting Los Altos 3-0, Freddie, in a Central Division showdown of two teams that have designs on winning the Central Division last year. I mean, we're actually talking about last year's runner-up, Los Altos.
This was our game of the week last year. This was the game where I went to Los Altos, and it was 34-14. Glendora won that game. But last year was the same thing. You went in with a lot of anticipation. Can Los Altos beat them? And Glendora really ran away from that game. We have that picture on the front cover of Matt Fink just outrunning everybody, and in that horrible grass field they have Los Altos. You see all the burnt grass popping up behind them. They just had their way with them. I think they ran for over 200 or 300 yards. Fink didn't have a big chunk of yardage in that game, but he really didn't need to. He was able to basically do whatever he wanted. He was so athletic when he got out in the open field. Nobody could get to him.
Right.
And I don't know how much that's going to change. You look at Glendora right now. Through 2 weeks, they're not scoring a lot of points. No. And you look at Matt Fink right now. I know he's had the great year, in the 7-on-7s and earning the scholarship to USC. A lot of anticipation of what he's going to do this year. And look, Glendora is just not a team that's designed like Char Oak or like some of these other teams that's going to have a quarterback throw 300 or 400 yards a game. And he's not doing that there. He's not even averaging 100 yards. Granted, they're good teams. Part of that, I don't know, Aram, is it offense? Is it not having a lot of receivers? Bottom line is they're 2-0. They've beaten two decent teams. Yeah,
they've beaten two decent teams, and you can credit a lot of that to the defense. Through 8 quarters this year, they've allowed 21 points total. And we saw last week, it was defense, it was special teams that really got the job done last week. Even Matt Fink, last year didn't put up the most flashy stats, but he's one of these guys that when you go watch the game, you know that he's the main attraction. He's the guy that every time he drops back, you hold your breath. Is he going to run? Is he going to pass? Whatever. The question was this year, with that USC, I don't want to say scholarship until because he hasn't signed anything yet. Yeah. But, the commit to USC so far is, was he going to risk himself, running-wise? And, I kind of wrote about this today already. He leads the team in rushing attempts. So he's not, protecting himself at all. He's back at it. He's got 20.
This is their offense.
Yeah, he's got 21 rush attempts this year. The leading rusher, Andrew Montano, has 16 rush attempts. So Matty is putting the ball down and running, okay? And, maybe that's a sign that they don't have what they need on the outside. But, against Los Altos, against these Central Division teams, Fred, this guy on his own is enough of a weapon to cause these teams fits. You saw it last year. He just could run away from this team and get them points, and you can't simulate him in practice. You can't account for him in practice because there's not many people that can do what he can do. Yeah, so
the problem with that, Aram, and Steve could probably chime in, is we know he can run the football. We know he can do that. But at some point, don't you have to be balanced and be able to do both? You need a quarterback as great as he is. If he's not able to throw for 150, 200 yards a game and get his receivers involved, I don't think down the line when they get in the big Palmares games or when they get in the playoffs, this is going to work when you rely on a quarterback who's got to be your leading rusher without the offense throwing the ball that they're going to need. That's my worry with them. Their defense has been great, and your defense can carry you so long. But when you get deep in the playoffs and teams are going to find ways to score in Glendora and score multiple times, you're going to need an offense that's a little bit more balanced, and I'm not sure Glendora has that.
Well, to me, he's like a high school Cam Newton. You can just – Cam Newton never puts up, 350 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. I mean, that's just rare. But what he does do is rush for 100 yards and throw for 200 yards. If Matt Fink can rush for around 100 yards and throw for around 200 yards, not many teams in this division or in their league even are going to beat Glendora. Now, the question for Los Altos is – they bring their own weapon into the game, Tyler Nevins. I mean, this guy, we talk about Toriano Sweet maybe being the top running back in the area. If he's not, this guy is. And if he is behind Sweet, then he's just right behind him. He's outstanding. He's a junior. He's off to a good start.
Last year.
Yeah, and he can be a one-man show just like how Matt Fink can be a one-man show. And they claim that they're strong enough, or strong or as as strong or stronger than what they were last year along both lines, which is a scary thought.
They're going to need to be because Glendora manhandled them last year.
So what I'm saying is it's very simple. This is going to be, Fink against Nevins, even though they're not going to be on the field per se at the same time. They both play offense. So we'll see what Fink can do against Los Altos' defense, and Nevins will have to do his thing against Glendora's defense. Los Altos is 3-0, but they haven't played a team, Fred, with a winning record.
Not off that incredible non-league schedule.
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing.
It's priceless. Can you read it?
It's Baldwin Park, it's West Adams, and it's Wilson, and that's a combined 1-7.
Yeah, and you saw Baldwin Park get run off the field 35-0 by Northview. Wilson, Los Altos.
But they've taken.
Who knows what West Adams is? Isn't that a?
It's a school in L.A.
That's probably near the Coliseum, I would think.
Isn't that West Adams?
Coliseum,
West Adams.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I think that was who it was.
Adams College, right?
Adams College. Okay.
No, you're right. So we'll see exactly what Los Altos has under the hood this week.
I have zero idea until they play this game because those games don't tell you anything. I mean, South Hills would be undefeated if you wanted to have them play that schedule.
Right, exactly.
A lot of teams in the Valley would be undefeated.
That's true.
And you'd say,
but maybe that's what they needed, breaking in a new QB, breaking in a lot of new guys. So
I'm not against it because we're going to find out the truth this week.
Oh, I think they're very live in this game.
Yeah,
Los Altos. I do. Yeah, I really do. But as we get into predictions here, I'm going to pick Glendora because you got a guy that can make plays with his arms and his legs. Whereas I think the only guy that can make plays for Los Altos can only do it with his legs.
And I think I like Glendora too. And this is one of those games that it's set up to be a close game. Glendora hasn't blown out anybody. They've won both of their games, but in both of them, it was kind of close for a long period of time. And I don't think Los Altos is getting blown out. I don't think they can score enough points to blow out Glendora. So I'm looking at a really low-scoring 21-14, 17-14 type of game. That's my prediction. But I'm going with Glendora just because they manhandled them so well last year. I'm just not convinced until I see it.
I got a little bit more of a blowout than that. I'm thinking 30-13 type game. But we'll see if Glendora can force Los Altos into a situation where it has to pass. Then big problems. Maybe they can. Maybe they can't.
I was talking to an assistant coach yesterday in the Valley whose team scrimmaged them. And said that Los Altos looked unreal. I mean, really good. So who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know what's under the hood fully with Los Altos.
And pull a Bonita, like Bonita against Monrovia, and just
you're right. And let's not forget, this junior class is the ones that, as freshmen, allowed 16 points all season, I believe, and went 10-0. So they are talented, Fred. Let's not forget that. They're talented. They're physical. They got the stud running back. If they've got QB and receiver play, then and they got Dale Ziola and his staff. Those guys are plenty capable when they're underdogs of pulling the upset. This is why this game is so great. We're going to find out a lot about Los Altos, and we're going to find out a lot about Glendora.
And last thing on Glendora, what's kind of interesting, they do have a new offensive coordinator who I thought was going to throw it around a lot. Brandon Rohrer, out of Wanda. Jury's still out on what he's going to be able to do with that team. That's
this is another great reason. Yeah. Okay, so everybody, get out to Stevie. Did you want to? I'm
sorry. Just based on the way Glendora is winning their last two games, you got to have a feeling that this is going to be a tight game. And for me, just the way I kind of like football, a team that can pound with a running back who can be physical. If they can keep the game competitive and within reach in the fourth quarter, I like that team.
That's Los Altos.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Los Altos. I think they're going to be behind going in the fourth quarter, but I think they're going to pull it out in the fourth quarter. I mean, something like 2017, 17, 14, something like that.
Stevie's got Los Altos in a close game. Freddie and I both have Glendora. Well, this is going to be a good one, folks. Everybody get out to Citrus College on Friday night and enjoy this game.
In the end zone.
Yeah, I'll be in the end zone or thereabouts. Two undefeated teams. Everybody enjoy it.